Hello Fanny Queens. Happy Halloween. Welcome back to the channel where I, Sarah, are going to take you through the scariest myths for endometriosis that we will bust together. And what a better day to do this on than Halloween. Stay safe if you're trick-or-treating, and let's get into the video. Pregnancy absolutely does not cure endometriosis, and it does not reset the body either. It's some of the craziest things that we get told in medical appointments. So I remember being 19 in Australia, and I went to see a gynecologist for my symptoms without doing any investigations, without doing any tests. I'd never even heard of endometriosis. He never suggested it to me, so I still hadn't heard of it. He told me, "Oh, I know the answer to your problems. Just have a baby." The hormones during pregnancy will completely reset your body. So think of it like a computer, and everything that you've done up until that point, it gets forgotten about and reset. So for years of my life, I've been going around thinking, oh, that's fine. Once I have a baby, my body will just reset. Everything's good to go. My pain will go. My hormones will balance out. No. Obviously, saying it out loud, I realised how stupid it sounds. But at the time, I didn't think to question it. Why would I? There's a medical professional telling me. I didn't think to question a medical professional. I was devastated to learn that wasn't the case. And I was travelling at the time. I had one suitcase with my belongings, and I'm just like, where's this baby gonna go? And he was like, well, if you want to get rid of your symptoms, that's what you need to do. What kind of advice was that? And imagine he's told so many people the same advice. Oh my gosh, I feel sick. If only it was as magical as just getting pregnant and poof, your endometriosis is gone. So no, pregnancy does not cure endometriosis. I feel like it's so common in the endometriosis space to be told that at least one point during your diagnosis journey. So if you've been told that too, let me know in the comments, or let me know any other crazy thing a doctor has said to you on your diagnosis journey. I remember watching a webinar with medical professionals and an endometriosis charity, and they promoted that the Mirena Coil is a good diagnostic tool for endometriosis. Basically, they were saying that if someone was to have endometriosis and they were to have the Mirena Coil, and the Mirena Coil was to reduce their symptoms and their pain, then that would be a good indicator that they had endometriosis. This is why we need to be careful of where we get our information from and trusted sources and stuff like this, because this is insane. You know what? Let's play the audio, because I always come with receipts.
A Mirena is a really good first-line treatment to also help diagnose endometriosis, because if the pain settles, it can give a good indication that it could be down to endometriosis. It is a good diagnostic tool as well.
And it doesn't stop there. There's also something else. Let's roll the audio.
And about 3 to 8 per 100,000 women may die from, an injury suffered at time of diagnostic laparoscopy. That's very rare. But, if a Mirena Coil does prevent, does work, then...
Yeah.
Prevent death or endometriosis. Surgery does come with risks, obviously, but fear-mongering isn't helping anybody. Mirena Coil cannot diagnose endometriosis. It cannot detect endometriosis lesions. It cannot be used as a diagnostic tool or a screening tool. It cannot stop the growth of endometriosis. Mirena Coil is used to possibly suppress symptoms of endometriosis. It's not a one-size-fits-all. Some people have success, some people do not. You should always choose what's best for you. This is super scary though, and damaging that a charity and medical professionals are promoting that narrative. But it's a whole thing I can get into another video, because I have so much to say, and there's so much to say, but I won't right now. Endometriosis is still classed as a menstrual disease, which makes it difficult to get a diagnosis for extrapelvic endometriosis. Extrapelvic endometriosis is often misunderstood, misdiagnosed, underdiagnosed. It's also under-researched, mainly due to myths amongst medical professionals. A lack of surgical skills amongst endometriosis surgeons also plays a huge role in misdiagnosis. Isn't it just such a joy? Some common areas of extrapelvic endometriosis include the bladder, bowel, pouch of Douglas, diaphragm, thoracic endometriosis, is the rectum. I'm in the team rectum endometriosis club. Are you? If you are, let me know, so I'm not alone in this. Yeah, baby. Endometriosis has been found on every organ within the body, including the brain, the eyes, fingernails. It's insane. It's even been found in a 52-year-old man. It's exhausting, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Hysterectomy is a cure for endometriosis. Absolutely not. No, no, no. There is currently no cure, zero cure for endometriosis. No matter what you read online, no amount of licking grass, no amount of broccoli, bending over doing yoga, downward dog is going to cure endometriosis. A hysterectomy is often wrongly categorized as a last resort surgery, which is unfair because it can give false hope that once you have this surgery, you're magically going to be cured and everything's going to be better. However, that's not always the case. A hysterectomy is such a huge decision and it should be treated as one, not as a last resort. While some people can find relief after having a hysterectomy, symptoms can still persist, endometriosis can still be present, and you may not get relief. Though endometriosis largely affects individuals of a reproductive age, it can be present in people younger than a reproductive age. It's also been found in animals and males, which I mentioned earlier. And if that isn't enough, it has also been found in fetuses, including a 25-week-old fetus. Endometriosis can be common in teenagers. However, it is often underdiagnosed, misdiagnosed due to lack of awareness amongst medical professionals, myths amongst medical professionals, including who can be affected and the causation of endometriosis. Diagnosis is often delayed, and this is because of lack of awareness, lack of knowledge in the medical world. We're kind of sold this idea that you have to be, certain ages of reproductive ages, of fertility ages to have endometriosis when you could get it before. I'm pretty sure my symptoms started, noticed them around 16, 17. But I am so sure they started before then. There's also a hesitancy to do surgery on younger people. It's super challenging to get a diagnosis for endometriosis, especially if you're a lot younger. I remember going to the doctors when I was at school. I just plucked up the courage and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. I just kept getting dismissed. They were like, oh, you're super young. Usually it takes a couple of years for your periods to kind of like balance themselves out, so give it a few years and come back if your symptoms persist, kind of vibes. Yeah, great. How did that work out for me? What a load of There has been cases of endometriosis in children. There's been a case of a child aged 6 diagnosed with an endometrioma for menstruation. As per the scientific studies, you can never be too young to have endometriosis. The only symptom of endometriosis is painful periods. Wrong. Whilst painful periods are a common symptom, there are also other symptoms of endometriosis too. Other symptoms can include bloating, irregular periods, constipation, diarrhea, fatigue. There's also some not so common symptoms like gastro symptoms, leg pain, UTIs. I could go on and on. I could actually list symptoms for hours. There seems to be this narrative where you can only experience symptoms during your menstrual cycle if you have endometriosis, which is not true. You can experience symptoms all month long. I do, and it sucks. It can be so challenging to live with endometriosis because of that, because you just never know what's coming for you on that day. Surgery may not be for everyone. However, should you choose a surgery route, it's important to understand the difference between the surgical techniques, and it's important to understand that not every surgeon has the same skill set when it comes to operating on endometriosis. There are 2 different techniques when it comes to removing endometriosis lesions. There's excision and ablation. Let's think of endometriosis lesions as a plant. So you have the plant and you have the root. Ablation burns off the top of the lesion and can leave the root behind, whereas excision involves surgically cutting out the entire lesion down to its root. Excision, they say, is a gold standard. However, not every surgeon performs excision. Also, these types of surgeons are not easily accessible to everyone. They can also be very expensive, unaffordable for most people. They're not always available through insurance. They're not always available on the NHS. Obviously, it depends where you live, what country you're from. It can be challenging to find an excision specialist surgeon. But it is important to vet your surgeon, to understand their skill level, their knowledge of endometriosis, their aftercare. It's important to ask all the questions. It's important to read reviews. You deserve super great care with someone who knows exactly what they're doing. I will do a whole video dedicated purely to how to find a surgeon, so keep your eyes peeled for that bad boy. Clear scans means no endometriosis. Yeah, right. Just because you have clear scans does not necessarily mean that endometriosis is not present. For me, all my scans were clear, but I actually have endometriosis. So a friend of mine got told that she didn't have endometriosis because her pap smear test, cervical screening came back clear. Are they joking? A pap smear cervical screening cannot detect endometriosis, and it shouldn't be used as a diagnostic test. A biopsy sent off for a pathological report through a laparoscopy is sadly the only true way to know if endometriosis is present. However, it can show up on scans. It also cannot show up. It just depends. Not everyone is trained in looking for the presence of endometriosis lesions on scans. It depends where the endometriosis is, how deeply infiltrated the endometriosis is, who is reading the scans. There's just so many different variations of everything. There's people that I speak to that have been diagnosed through an MRI and then they've gone on to have surgery knowing that they have endometriosis specifically to remove that. There's people who have had clear scans and then gone to have a diagnostic laparoscopy and then found out they have endometriosis. There's such a mixture of everything, and that's why I'm starting this channel, because I think it's important for everyone to have the education behind them and the knowledge to know how they can navigate their own journey best for themselves. And this crazy system of being dismissed and gaslit and denied and ignored and accused of lying and whatever else gets thrown our way. So hang on in there and stay strong. That is everything for busting some common myths on endometriosis. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Stay fabulous and always fight for your Fanny. Love you.